this, and it's a Servis M2010 from the KRS range. This is your base model. Well, base model, but it still does anti-creasing intermittently. Now, what was a bit of a shock was the price. These were not cheap when they were on sale. Even though the matching washing machine was cheap. But there was one thing that Maloney did right when they made these, and that was build them, well, pretty solid. Stuff it seems though, the KRS washing machines were also built pretty solid. It was just that they were bought by people who didn't really have any money, and when they broke, they just got rid. So it was a bit one of them. Also, like, they were bought by, you know, people that had like 22 kids. So they were on frequently, and then the brushes wore out and whatever. But if you had one of these dryers though, they were pretty well built, and they were pretty well reliable too. This one in particular has been in a rented house for some time. Along with, like, I bought this for like 30 quid, I think, something like that. This is going about 12 months, 18 months ago, so I'm not too sure how much I actually paid. But they did have a Hoover 9 kilo washing machine with it in the rented house, and both the washer and the dryer were going. Now, I didn't buy the wash because they wanted to. Well, it wasn't that they didn't want too much. It was just that it was too much as a used machine, if that makes sense. I think they wanted either £80 or £100, and I was like, that's a fair price for used price for a Hoover 9 kilo washing machine. But I was like, nah, I just came for the dryer, and I really wanted the dryer, so it's still here. The one thing, it was fully running when I turned it on. It was just that I noticed that the start mode, the start capacitor for it was just a little bit too worn out. It was just enough to get the clothes tumbling, but it was very slow on startup. Anyway, we fixed that issue. We put a new capacitor in. I do have a soft spot for these Servis machines. There were quite a few services within my childhood amongst family, friends and stuff like that. So, not necessarily the KRS itself, but they were sort of everywhere. And yeah, for me, as a kid, as daft as it seems, so was this dial on this actually. So the dial gave me sort of inspiration for a lot of things. Let me show you in a minute. Not the physical dial itself, not that, or the fact that you turn it, but these colours. I'll go into it in a minute. So, right, the Servis has quite a boxy shell to it, so there's no real curves here. It sort of ends and then just goes 90 degrees, which is quite rare. Also, I've just noticed that the paint on this is very rough. It kind of suggests that either it's been cleaned with something that's completely all over and it's made it come up like that, or somebody's tried spray painting it, I think. I'm not too sure, because there's a little bit of something on the door that looks a bit like spray paint. Obviously the door trim has yellowed. May be able to fix that. I'm going to be honest though, yellowing doesn't really happen a lot with these old Servis machines. And if you notice, it's just this outer trim. The door handle itself is fine. And also, obviously, the upper is fine as well. But the stuff, it seems, the yellowing happens to the body, not the actual plastics. Same with the matching washing machine that I've got. The yellowing has happened to the paint and not the plastics. In fact, even this is slightly more yellowed look than the white plastic. Bit of an odd one, but there you go. Right. Couple of good things as well. You get a really long mains cable. It's a good 2 meters at least. Possibly even 2.5. Look, there's still a load of excess there. Can you see? That's all come all the way from the back to the front of the machine, and all the way back 2 more machines to the plug. 2.5 meters, I think that's about that. And the vent at the bottom is directly in the middle of the machine at the bottom. However, you can't vent it sideways or anything like that. It's not like a Zanussi or anything like that. However, when it comes to build quality like a Zanussi, it is a bit like a Zanussi. Very alike, actually. Anyway, we've got the door handle here. Now, this is a little bit of the downside with the Keresas in general. It's the shape of the door handle. And you are prone to snapping. Not so much with the dryer, because there isn't as much resistance on the seal. However, even the quality, can we see there? So this is the dryer seal, but the door catch actually catches the seal. Still, not to worry, I've got a spare seal. Inside we've got our 5 kilogram drum. It does look awfully like a Zanussi, but it's not a Zanussi drum. But we have got 3 paddles. What is that chunk of fluff right there? That's annoying. Right in the middle. And then we've got our fluff filter at the front. There we go. Quite a unique design. It's a split one, of course. And I'll go into this a little bit later. There is a little bit of a downside with this filter, of course, when you're trying to clean it. When you fold it open, that bottom bit then becomes inaccessible. Bit of annoyance. Also, if you want a replacement one, you can just knit one from a medium-made machine. So things like the Russell Hobbs, the Logics, dryers, etc. use exactly the same filter. They also use the same door seal. They also use the same whole filter assembly at the front here as well. But that's where the similarities end, unfortunately. After that, they really got to town with making it as cheap as possible. Like not putting glass in the door with the medium-made ones. It's just plastic. And it doesn't get as hot either. Now, talking of heaters, this too also doesn't get very hot. It apparently takes 120 minutes or so to do 5 kilograms fully dried. Right, talking of heaters, this has a 1.8 kilowatt heater, which means it's slower than its competitors. Not all of them, but yeah, compared to the likes of Zanussi, White Knight, and Hotpoint Creeder, yeah, it's slower at drying a full load. However, what I do like is how they put the assembly of the heater. It's got a little panel by itself, so you want to go change the heater. It's so simple. It's 4 screws and it's out and it's away, and you put another one in and away you go. And you've got access to also the thermostats there too. So serviceability of these as well is pretty good as well. We wanted to change the capacitor, of course, so there's a panel at the back. You just take off 2 screws and you've got access to the motor and the capacitor there. You want to do a lot of work to this, and the whole back comes off, of course. So servicing these are pretty easy. They're not bad. I like them. Servis will only actually fall to this. That's nice. Right, so we've got a couple of timings here. We've got obviously full load dry for storing, slightly damp for ironing, full load dry for storing, slightly damp for ironing. And then here you got full load dry for storing, slightly damp for ironing, full load dry for storing, and slightly damp for ironing. Yeah. There is a lot of wrong going here. Right, so the black is for cottons, right? All of these are for cottons. And the green is for synthetics. But it's going to get even more complicated in a minute. So let me explain. So obviously black cottons max load 5 kilograms. Then the green max load for synthetics is about 2 kilograms, roughly, maybe 2.5. Not too sure because there isn't a manual anywhere anymore. So if anyone wants to correct me down below, they can. But there's a real grammatical error in all of these. Now it says full load, dry for storing. Then 2 sections later it says full load, dry for storing. No, that's half load, dry for storing. Same with the synthetic side. It's a half load and that's a half load of the 2.5 kilograms. So 1.25 kilograms. And if you notice, the timings are exactly the same. Yeah, right. This is synthetics we're talking about. And what spin speeds are we actually talking about here? Are we talking about a 16 and 1500 spin KRS? Like I got to a 1000 spin KRS. Because synthetic spin was always 800 RPM no matter what machine you had. Right, 2 buttons in the middle, and it doesn't really tell you anything. Start, obviously, it's a safety start that resets. Obviously, you can hear it clicking. And delicate heats is your low heat, which you need to use when you're drying synthetics with a full load. Or a full load for store, at 50 to 80 minutes. Yeah, you get the idea. And then we've got our timer over here. And a couple of things kind of like are a little bit bizarre. But I'll start with the less bizarre thing. We've got this green light here that's not green, it's orange. I don't know where that is. Bizarre then. That's your mains on to say it's in motion. And then we've got a timer starting from 135 minutes. I think it starts from 140, like literally after about 140 minutes. And it's ticking down at roughly about once every 2 minutes or so, which isn't bad. Now where it gets bizarre is here. So you got your grey for cottons, and then it turns green here for synthetics, and then blue here for woolens. No, wait. See, this is what confused me as a kid. I thought, honestly, as a kid, that you started here with cottons, and this was high heat, and it would automatically go to low heat here. I wouldn't mind, but because it says a full load for synthetics goes up to 120 minutes, why bother painting this grey? Why just put it all in grey and put a little mark about the delicate heat for green? It's really bizarre. And then you got this little blue section. I know it's for the cool down, but on the washing machines, why wasn't it blue for the woolen cycle? Oh wait, hang on. And then you got this blue section for the cool down, which I was thinking, why didn't you use this blue section for the woolen section of the dial on the washing machines? Yeah, they could have done, and that would have made things even easier. So as a kid, I was like going, 12-minute woolens cycle. Yeah. Which is possible nowadays, but not back then. Anyway, let's try these. Now we've got a roughly a 3/4-ish load. So if we're going to dry it for store dry, we're going to want around I'm gonna go with 75. There you go, there's a little green light that's actually orange. Never understood that. Let's take a look then. Take our filter out. Split it. So empty it. This is the one problem, so like, how do you get like below there? So naturally that's covering about 10mm of it. Not brilliant design. They're fairly crease free. They are a little bit wet still, but well, since it's only been spun at sort of 800 RPM, you know, it's not too bad really. So let's give this out of 10 then. Well, I'm going to give this 8.5 out of 10. These are pretty solid, well-built machines. Very quiet running, actually. Very quiet. The timer's a bit too... How should I put it? You can turn the dial a bit too easily. It's not, like, chunky. You know. And obviously that door handle, this particular design is prone to breaking. That filter... Bit of a design flaw, but the mesh inside it's very good, so it doesn't rip or anything. And also the fact it's a split one and still hasn't broke after all these years, or it takes a long time before it breaks, is normally a good sign of a good built filter. Obviously it's also not very fast either, so bit of a lots of positive points, but there's also negative points too. It's not like the Zanussis of the day. The Zanussis are rated a lot higher than this because they dried a lot faster while still holding their quality as well and reliability. So there you go. Alright, thanks for watching this review, and I'll see you in another review. Also, don't forget to like, don't forget to comment below what you like or don't like about the machine, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Alright, I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.